What's up guys, C213 here, and today I'm going to be giving you my 1-year update on what it's like owning the Dell Latitude 12 Rugged Extreme model 7204. So I've had this thing for a little over a year now, and so I think it's time that I give you guys an update. Now, I'm going to go over more things that I've noticed using it as my daily driver, things that I've done to it, changed, had to do, etc., maintenance, that sort of thing, and also just what's my overall experience and has my opinion of it changed since I did my review. So here we go. First thing, I know I mentioned this in my review as well, but I want to bring it up again. The screen is going to get dirty. I'll turn it off here. And you can see just how greasy it is, or how many streaks are on it. It's not really that greasy. But basically, no matter what you do to clean it, you'll never get it looking completely shiny and free of streaks. It will always have streaks. Now, when the screen is on, you can't even notice them. But when the screen is off, you will. And that's just, unfortunately, the nature of this material that they used for the touchscreen. Now, I'm not complaining again a lot because it is easy to see in sunlight, and the streaks never seem to be a huge problem with reflections and that sort of thing. But nonetheless, it's a little annoying because as somebody that likes things totally clean, it does bother me sometimes if I'm looking at the screen when it's not on. But that's not often, so that's that. Another thing that I have noticed is that because of the keyboard having these screws here and so many different crevices, dirt and dust will just get in here and just, it makes it look horrible, and it doesn't really affect anything, but you'll see there's dirt and dust inside the screws here, and so that does get annoying because, again, it's very difficult to clean something that has so many different seams and things. Now, the good thing, of course, being that it's a rugged laptop, every month or so when it gets real dirty, you know what I do? I get it under the sink in my kitchen sink, and I just give it a little rinse. Use the jet mode and gently and rinse off all that. All the dirt comes out, and then I just wipe it down with a good cloth. I flip the laptop over, all the extra water comes out, and then within half an hour it's dry. But it's not like you can't use it. It's a rugged laptop. It's meant to take that. So that's great. You can literally say, my keyboard's dirty, I'm gonna wash it. And so that's nice. So now I'm gonna go over a couple other things, and then I'm also gonna go over things that I've had to do in terms of maintenance and upgrades. So another thing, after having used this for this long, I don't know if you can see this, but the bumpers are beginning to wear a lot. I mean, and this is something that I mentioned even in my review. This rubber, this polymer material here is very, very soft. And that's great for impacts, but it's not so great for wear. And as you can see, these are very rounded off. And right now, they just kind of look weird, but there's not really a problem. But in the future, going forward, it's going to become a problem when they wear down enough where they're not going to offer the same impact protection on the bottom. And that's a big deal for me. I don't want to have my laptop be at risk from damage from something that it should normally be able to resist, which is a basic drop from the bottom. And so this is a problem too, because again, with Dell's lack of parts availability, you can't get these. And I've contacted Dell so many different ways to Sunday, and you just can't get anybody to talk to you about this. I mean, you'll talk to somebody, and they'll just be like, oh sir, we don't know about your laptop. We don't know that model. Like literally, the guy I talked to, he didn't even know this thing existed. I had to send him a link to the business site to show him that this laptop was something that they sold. And then he was like, oh, well, I'll go look. I'm like, oh, you work at Dell. You should know this. So you're not going to be able to get parts like that. And this is a problem. So for me, I'm probably going to see if I can find a salvage unit that's damaged, that just has bumpers, and I'll probably have to take it off. Something like that. So that's, again, a big deal. Now, another thing, again, I went over this in my review, but I want to stress this in this video. This antenna handle is one of the weakest points on this machine. Now, if you use one or you don't need one with cellular data, it's not going to be a problem for you. But if you're using one and you need cellular data, this is a weak point. I just want to state that. And definitely, you know, I'm supporting it with my other hand, but you do not want to do something like this by using this as a lever to hold this laptop, because again, the antenna handle is very weak in this direction, in the lateral direction. So that's something that you're not going to see with the detachable handle because it interfaces directly with the frame. So that's something that happened to me several times. It actually did snap off and I had to re-glue the handle. Now I later purchased a scrap unit that had the antenna handle on it, and so I was able to get one of those. But again, this is something that you don't want to have to do that. Not everyone's going to want to or have the ability to buy a separate unit to get parts off of. And in that case, you want to be vigilant of that. So again, I will be making a video on how to strengthen the a handle that you have, an antenna handle, before it breaks so that it doesn't break. Another thing I did was I bought a second battery. So this is something that I got off of eBay. I got it for about 50 bucks, which is, I think it's a fair price. And it's nice to have because although this is not like the newer ones where you can hot swap while they're on, it's still something nice to have because, hey, you have a separate battery, you have an external removable battery. It's nice to have another one. Why not? Because it means you can swap them out on the fly. I mean, you can't do it while the computer's on, but it doesn't matter. If you're on a long flight, if you're working somewhere where there's no outlets, I mean, this is just common sense stuff. And for me, it made sense to have an extra battery. So when I'm out and about and I don't have access to an outlet, I just have another battery. Now, this other thing happened to me relatively soon after the review that I did, which is that, so this back cover is just a standard piece. It's not connected to anything except by screws, and it's not part of the frame. So this whole back cover comes off. So while I was doing maintenance in there, I was pulling off the back cover, and I guess it got stuck on the bottom sections here, and it actually tore, okay, the seal. And so because the seal on the inside is sort of liquid molded, it's basically liquid foam molded into a rim around this back cover, there's no replacing that, right? It's manufactured that way. So once it tore, I had to use some silicone basically to seal it while I put it on. And then for a good month, I had, just that's the only thing that was sealing it there. And then I eventually found a replacement used, but new old stock back cover, and then I purchased that, and that's what's on here now. So this is not the original back cover. This is a new one with a new intact seal all the way around. So that was another thing for me. You got to be careful with these because sometimes in the manufacturing it seems like the foam doesn't really dry all the way, and it actually bonds to the little bit of rubber that's in the corners that allow the grommets that allow the antenna handle to pass through, and basically it will tear when you pull it off. No matter what you do, you could gently, whatever, it's going to tear because it's literally like stuck to it. Like the seal wasn't fully cured yet, and then they put it onto that rubber, and then it bonded to the rubber. So that's something that you're gonna have to look out for as well. If you ever open one of these machines, be prepared to use some sort of silicone or something to seal these corners where the seal overlaps with the rubber grommet. And also be on the lookout for replacement back covers because it's good to have one just in case you mess up the seal and that sort of thing. So in that respect, that's another thing. But overall, I've been very happy with this thing. I think it harkens back to a time when you could work on laptops, when laptops were upgradable, modifiable, there was maintenance that you could do on them and that sort of thing. And while I know a lot of people just want a machine that's just, a sealed unit and it just does what they need to do, and when it's broken you throw it out. I think for something like this, because it's a rugged laptop and because there's just so much space, in here to work, it is very nice to work on because it's not like working on most modern laptops where everything is really tight and there's, you're using your, tweezers to do stuff. And here you can do everything with your fingers. Everything can be done with your fingers. Everything is super easy to get to. Obviously, it's a kind of a hassle to get all the screws off. There's, all these different screws in the back, but it's dead simple. I mean, it's tedious, but it's simple. And I think that's what I like about this thing in the end, is that if you're going to do work on it, it is simple. And in addition, it has been very reliable for me, and it's taken a lot of abuse, and it has survived. So, in conclusion, I will not be changing my opinion of it since my review, because although it does have its problems and does have some design quirks and issues, overall I still think that Dell makes the best rugged convertible on the market right now. So if you like this video, give me a like. If you have any questions, comments, anything you want to say, you know what to do, leave them below. If you want to see more, please get subscribed. I would really appreciate it.